Welcome to Midweek Experiments in Faithfulness. This is a weekly facilitated spiritual practice with a Quaker flavor and an experimental ethos. My name is Lahari and I'm a program fellow here at the Friends House, which is a Quaker Center for Learning and Action and a residential community of about 20 people who live according to Quaker values. Tonight we have, me, Lahari, with the practice celebrating spring around the world. So this is going to be a little bit different because I'm tech hosting and facilitating, so just bear with me. Spring has sprung. It's time of new growth and new beginnings, and people from around the world have their own unique ways of welcoming the season. In this midweek, we'll be gleaning wisdom from these different spring celebrations and participating in a mindfulness and intention setting exercise. Now, a little bit more about myself, Lahari, the facilitator of this event, and also awkwardly the tech host. I'm a Quaker-curious botanist and Friends House resident. I'm also a cooperative-living enthusiast. I care deeply about building community, sustainability, and mindfulness. I'm noticing here that a few of you, pretty much all of you have come to my previous midweek, so hopefully this will be a fresh take on something we've done before. The beginning of this midweek on spring celebrations. Again, if you live in Boston or have come to the area, spring is a very obvious season in this region. Spring it just slaps you in the face a little bit, to use a non-Quaker simile, a metaphor. But basically, you have winter with all these barren trees because we're living in an area that's mostly deciduous. And then as spring comes, you've got leaves popping up, you've got flowers, you've got trees covered entirely in flowers. Gone are the days of barren branches, and now you have all this beautiful color for the first time in many, many months. And this is the case in a lot of other places in the world too. I wanted to talk about the idea of spring, the idea of renewal, the idea of bringing back new and coming back together stronger. Because not all places are New England, and not all places have this obvious spring. For instance, my family is from India, specifically the southern part of India. And over there, it's supposed to be like a dry, deciduous land, forest, and we have a very unique celebration called Ugadi, which is not one of my favorite festivals, one of my favorite celebrations of spring, because it's this beautiful way of bringing in the new year. It's our new year, the Telugu New Year. It's this beautiful celebration that's marked by young mangoes. You've got flowers from neem trees. And you've got rituals that incorporate all of these incredible things, these incredible markers of spring. You've got flowers and all of these things, and you include them in this beautiful, it's called Ugadi Pachadi, which means this little, I don't know, it's really hard to describe, but it's like a salad of sorts that has neem flowers, neem blossom. It's got young mangoes. You put bananas in there, and as you can kind of see, if you've ever had any of these things before, they all represent different tastes. So you've got bananas for something sweet, you've got peppers for something spicy, you've got some salt, you've got young mangoes, which are really astringent, neem flowers, which are quite bitter. So you're making a salad of sorts with all of these ingredients to represent the new year. So New Year isn't just going to be sweet, it's not just going to be salty, it's not just going to be spicy, it's going to be a combination of all of those things. So I think it's a wonderful ritual to ring in the new year to say, be ready for whatever the new year has in store. It may be something beautiful and sweet, but it also may be something spicy and sour, but also not to judge that and just take that as it comes and take that in stride as you go through the new year. So that's one of my favorite rituals. Obviously, neem flowers aren't native to this part of New England, so I haven't had the specific Ugadi Pachadi in a few years, but I have my own version of it, Ugadi Tea Party, and I have little things on a platter that are representing a Seder plate, if you will, but an Ugadi Seder, with different things representing the different tastes. So I usually do black tea for something astringent and bitter. I do something sweet like honey. I have crackers for something salty, just to sort of represent these different tastes and have a little bit of everything to represent the new year. So I know all of you come from different cultures or have different cultural backgrounds or have experienced different cultural things. So I want to take some silence. And in the meantime, I want to read you some poems by Mary Oliver. And as I do that, I want you to take some time to reflect on maybe some spring traditions of your own. What are some favorite things that you like to do around this season? What are some things that you do to ring in your new year, your spiritual new year, not the calendar year? But what are some things that you do for you to remember the things that the new year is going to hold, the thing the spring is going to hold? What symbolize renewal in your life? So let's take maybe like 5 to 6 minutes to just sit in some silence, peppered by me reading some poems by Mary Oliver, and just really reflect on what spring means to us. And then we can get back together and then talk about some of those things. This poem is called Spring by Mary Oliver. It says, somewhere a black bear has just risen from sleep and is staring down the mountain. All night in the brisk and shallow restlessness of early spring, I think of her, how to love in this world. I think of her rising like a black and leafy ledge, to sharpen her claws against the silence of the trees. Whatever else my life is, with its poems and its music and its glass cities, it is also this dazzling darkness coming down the mountain, breathing and tasting. All day I think of her, her white teeth, her wordlessness, her perfect love. Glenna?
When I was a child, we used to have the march coming in like a lion and out like a lamb. And we drew pictures of it, and we did window dressings with it. And it was the sign of spring for all the school children in the United States, really. And in May, when spring was just the beginning of May, we had the maypole. And that was, I think, symbolic of what the earth was doing to the plain trees. We started with just a plain pole with different colors of fabric or streamers or something. And then we would all hold one. We would attach them to the top, all hold one and go around the pole until it was rainbowed and decorated, much like spring decorates the plain trees. And it was symbolic of that. The whole thing of spring, too, has been in Western civilization, which is, as you go around the globe, we're all pretty much experiencing spring at the same time if you're looking at beginnings of Western civilization. And it's symbolic of resurrection, of the resurrection of Christ, which in the liturgical calendars has to be scheduled within a certain time, which is within spring. So I think culturally we have so many little celebrations and reminders that spring is a renewal and even a resurrection. And so it's my favorite, most hopeful time and of the year. Just, I think, because of all of those things and the meaning that gives me.
If no one else wants to go, I have another activity that we could do. So I feel like we crowdsourced some really incredible memories here. A lot of really beautiful colors of spring, if you will. A lot of interesting sigils, memories, just things that evoke spring. So I want to take us down the path of a guided meditation. I want us to close our eyes or open them or partially open, whatever feels most comfortable to you. Feel free to sit down or stand up or lay down, whatever feels most comfortable to you. I want you to find a position that feels comfortable and safe. I want you to take a deep breath in, a gentle breath out. If meditation does not feel comfortable to you, you're welcome to follow along in a journal. Write down whatever thoughts come through to you or something of that sort, just some time for reflection. I want you to take a deep breath, put yourself in the ideal spring world. I want you to open your senses, this world. Your eyes open to the beautiful flowers, the daffodils, the cherry blossoms. Your ears open to the beautiful bird songs. Look for those cardinals, those little birds singing at 5 in the morning. The cuckoo singing that it's time for Ugazi. I want you to place yourself in your favorite spot, looking out. The next time you take a deep breath, I want you to think of what spring smells like to you. Is it the smell of wet soil after an April shower? Is it the beautiful subtle smell of the magnolias? Or is it jasmines in your grandmother's hair? Or the mango leaves on your doorstep? I want you to picture eating your favorite yummy foods for spring. Is it fresh asparagus? Or a little baby unripe mango? Or a fresh pea? I want you to bite into it and feel the feeling, the taste. Be it the astringency from the mango, the crispness of fresh spring asparagus. I want you to find yourself in your place of inner spring well-being. Look around you. What do you see? Look for those daffodils, those cherry blossoms. The neat single file lines of school children walking their party. Or the carpet, paper like cherry blossom petals. Look out in the distance. What is that? A maple? Remember what it feels like to be running around, maple, not a care in the world. What does it smell like? Fair food, perhaps a funnel cake. Look on further. What do you see? Maybe a vernal pool. Perhaps a shrimp or a salamander. A little baby bird. Maybe a little baby squirrel. Take another deep breath. And this time, put yourself into your favorite spring memory. What do you smell? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you taste? What do you touch? What do you feel? Bask in this place of comfort, in the spring glory of this moment. And when you feel ready, rejoin us in this spring moment. Thank you so much for participating in that with me. If you would like to, you're welcome to share how that felt for you. I just want to mention that I feel like I really did transport myself into a lot of those moments and those memories. I feel like I could smell the flowers that I was talking about. Usually when I'm like doing a guided meditation, like when I'm guiding the meditation, I have a harder time settling into it myself. But I really feel like I could imagine that and really settle into it. So that was a first for me. I want to take a bit more silence to maybe think about what it is we want to bring into our New Year's. I know according to the Gregorian calendar, we're already like 4 months through, but Ugadi was just yesterday, so the Telugu New Year just started. And I think it's a perfect time for us to think about our intentions for the year. Certainly the flowers seem to think it's their New Year, so it's our New Year too. So maybe like take a moment or two or a few and write down or say in your mind what it is you want to bring into your New Year. And if you come back together and if you feel comfortable, you could share with the rest of the group here, or you can just keep it to yourself. That's okay too. So let's take a few moments to think about what it is we want to bring into our New Year vibe or energy, if you will, or New Year intention. Of course, I was thinking about the pollinators, but I was thinking about like pollinators specifically who try to go to as many flowers as possible, but they also don't think about all the flowers they couldn't go to. I feel like they know they're gonna go to like maybe 5 or 6, and then they're gonna stop for the day, and then they'll go to 5 or 6 more. I doubt a bee out there is going like, well, I could have gone to 7,000 more flowers and I didn't do that, you know? But I feel like me, the figurative bee here, I'm constantly thinking about all the things I didn't do instead of the things I have done. So one of my rituals come spring in New England and generally has been to collect flowers. So I go out, I collect flowers and I press them and I put them in my little herbarium sheet. So I press them and I put them on a little sheet and I write a little note about where I found them. And I remember over last year, I didn't do as much of that because I just didn't have time. I was trying to finish my thesis. And I kept thinking about, oh man, I should have gone to that place and collected that flower. And I didn't get to do that. And now it's, you know, dead and gone. And I don't know if I'll get a chance to do it again. Instead of thinking, well, I did that last year, the year before. And I saw these many flowers this year, and I looked at all of these things, and I smelled this many roses. I kept lamenting all the things I didn't do. So this year, I want to set an intention of be more like a bee. Think about the things that you will do instead of things that you haven't done or won't do or don't want to do. Instead of thinking, well, I should have pressed 70,000 flowers, I should be like, well, I pressed 2, and that's good too. I think I want to set that intention of like really focusing on what I can and have done instead of what I can't and haven't done. Just feels more in line with spring.
Being the moment.
Susanna says, spring woodland images like trillium, bloodroot, jack in the pulpit, trout lilies, sounds like peepers at night, woodcocks mating ritual in the field near my house, and early morning birds. Wow, that really paints the picture. Thank you so much, Susanna.
Beautiful. Can you read it again?
Yeah, of course. She says, spring woodland images like trilliums, bloodroot, jack in the pulpit, trout lilies, and sounds like peepers at night, woodcocks mating ritual in the field near my house, and early morning birds. I also wanted to extend the invitation to you guys and everyone else in the room. If you have any pieces of media that you like to read around this time, or it could also be maybe a verse in the Bible or your other favorite book that reminds you of spring or rebirth or rejuvenation, or any other poem you like to read to yourself to celebrate the season. I feel like people have a lot of things that they do around the spring equinox, like that's also a big ritual around spring. So I wanted to give us some time to reflect on maybe some things that we do without even knowing or noticing. What do you want to read, Nanas?
Yeah, I'll read it in Telugu, you translate.
Yeah, so my mom's going to read a poem by my father.
ఆమె పాట విని చాలా కాలం అయ్యింది. వేప చెట్టు గాలి వీస్తూనే ఉంది గాని గోరింకలు అప్పుడప్పుడు గొంతు సవరించుకుంటాయి. ఇసుక మండే ఎండలో ఖర్జూరం చెట్ల నీడలోంచి నడకదారిలో అనుకోకుండా ఎదురైన మందార పువ్వుల గడ్డి నిండా రాలిన గంధేరు పూల సందడి. భ్రమణకాంక్షలో కాలం వసంతాన్ని కంటుంది. భ్రమరం నిసర్గ సందేశాన్ని పువ్వు పువ్వుకి చేరుస్తుంది. ఎడారిలో కూడా సీతాకోక చిలుకలు ఎగురుతాయి. తేనెపట్టు నిండుతుంది. వేప చెట్టు గాలి వీస్తూనే ఉంది కానీ ఆమె పాట వినే చాలా కాలం అయ్యింది.
The poem is titled Her Song. It says, it's been a long time since I've heard her song. The wind from the neem tree keeps blowing. Oh, it's the cuckoo is trying to like clear its throat to get ready to sing. And the sand is burning from the sun hitting it, and the date trees are casting their shadows. Basically, it's like a passing flowering hibiscus tree on your way somewhere. Basically, is like, I guess, illuminating the grass, just like a hibiscus flower that you see on your way somewhere, and just like a bunch of flowers that are falling onto like green grass. Basically, like a cricket piercing through some silence, and basically it's talking about, it's like this thing like seeing butterflies in a desert. The song of the spring is something that haunts me despite not having heard it in a while. The bees keep pollinating, the wind from the neem tree keeps blowing, and it's, even though I haven't heard the song of spring in a while. Thank you everyone for coming to this midweek. It's a very special one to me. I mean, clearly my mom's here. I read my dad's poetry. It's the day after Ugadi. And also I feel so touched by all of your sharings and stories. As you know, we keep midweek free because we believe this kind of programming should be accessible to everyone. However, if you've gotten something out of this program and you're financially able to contribute, here is a link. You can donate to the link.